Okay, welcome back to phase 2 of this Windows 2016 lab. This is going to be a lot of fun today. So let's have a look at the whiteboard, see where I currently at. So we've set up all these virtual machines. We have 4 servers and 2 clients. So 4 2016 virtual machines and 2 Windows 10 machines. We're going to have a domain controller 1, domain controller 2, and 2 file servers, which we're going to use DFS as the mechanism for the other PCs, virtual machines, to connect to file resources here. All right, so now this phase 2, we're going to install Active Directory. We'll promote DC1 to domain controller, and we're going to start a new forest. Then in domain controller 2, we'll also install Active Directory. We'll promote it to a domain controller, but we're going to join it to the domain. We're not going to set up a brand new tree. Okay, so let's have a look now. So I've got my clients, my servers all up and running. So let's go to the domain controller 1. Okay, so first stage. Let's go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. I just noticed I'm on the wrong virtual machine now. Okay, that's better. Alright, so Tools, Manage, Add Roles and Features. Alright, so we'll go to Next. Next again. You'll notice the name is there and the IP address we set up. If you see a strange name there, or you see an APIPA address or something like that, that means you need to change the name and the IP address. Next, we'll go to Active Directory Domain Services. Go to Next. We're just going to next this really quickly. Install, and we'll wait for it to do its thing. I'll just put pause while it does this. Alright, that didn't take too long. We'll go to Close. We'll have a look at the flag here. So we've installed Active Directory, but we haven't promoted this as a domain controller. We won't install DNS yet. The domain controller, so when I promote this to a domain controller, DNS will be a part of this. Will be installed, I'm sorry. So promote the server to a domain controller. Add new forest. So when we do DC2, yeah, we're going to do something different. We will add a new domain to add a new domain controller to existing domain. Okay, but we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to call this. We'll call it the Harry domain. Call it anything you like. It's up to you. Or you could call it lab if you want, lab.com. We'll call it. You know what? Yeah, no, we'll call it. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. No problems. Up to you how you want to set that up. That's your choice. Okay, so we're going to leave everything as default. If you wanted to do a read-only domain control like a Rodoc server, you can, but not part of this lab. Just put 2 passwords to match. Just ignore that yellow warning. That's normal. For an in-depth description, I will have a. I'll consider doing some more specific tutorials and descriptions, but this is just a how-to set up a lab. Alright, so NetBIOS, just click next. Who uses NetBIOS? It's one of those things that are for backward compatibilities. These are all the database files. This file is where the GPOs are stored. The NTDS is where the database file is stored, the actual database, and the log files. Yeah. If you want to view script, you can copy and paste it. And next time you do this, it'll be much quicker. You don't need to go through the GUI. But we're going to next that. It's just going to do a prerequisite check to make sure everything is okay. If you didn't have a static IP address, then we would fail. Probably even before we got here, but anyway. All prerequisite checks passed successfully. Go to install. We'll need to restart. Now the restart takes a bit of time. Takes some time. So instead of wasting time, We'll jump over to domain controller 2 and set up domain controller 2. We'll get that going at the same time, so that we don't waste too much time. But we want to finish the whole process for DC1 first before we install domain controller, Active Directory and domain controller on DC2. So DC1, we need to finish everything first. We need to have that ready and going before we finalize DC2. But we can start doing things at the same time. All right, so that looks like that we've got that installed. So if we press close, we're going to need to sign out. This should take about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. I've seen it done really quickly, and I've seen it done longer. So we'll let it do its thing. We'll go to domain controller 2 now, and we'll get the ball rolling on DC2. So pretty much almost exactly the same process. We'll go to manage, add roles and features. So remember, we're on DC2 now. This is our secondary domain controller because we want some redundancy. IP address is different. It's 0.3, and you can see DC2, the name is there. Go to next. Active Directory, domain service, add all the features, next, 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 and install. Okay, so it's exactly the same as the DC1. So I'll just pause this. Okay, so that's finished now. We'll need to promote this to a domain controller now, but this is where it's going to be different. And we can't do anything yet until DC1 is finished installing. So we need to pause, and I'll pause for about 10 minutes. I'm going to run and get a coffee. I'm going to make a coffee, and when I'm back, the DC1, which is still going, will be finished, and we'll see it working. We'll go into and log in and actually see. So I'm going to go run and get a coffee, and we'll see you shortly. With the magic of pause, live pause, it'll be 15 minutes for me, but like 2 seconds for you. So we'll see you shortly. All right, so that took about 10 minutes. I've got my coffee ready, and this domain controller is finished now. So it's promoted, and you'll notice now there's Harry/administrator. So I'm not logging in locally. I am logging in as the domain and the administrator for the domain. And that's important for the other servers. So when we're doing the file servers and the DC2, we want to log in as the domain user, not the local user. So let's just check DC1. Let's see if the tools are ready. And we'll go to tools. When that little ribbon flies across, don't do what I did now and get impatient. You have to wait till it finishes. We go to tools, there we go. Active Directory users and computers are there. And also group policy management. So that we know that this is now a domain controller. Now, let's jump over to DC2. Now we can finish this. So add a new domain to an existing forest. Okay, so let's select it. Let's go and let's jump over to... No, we don't want to add a new domain, sorry. We want to add a domain controller to an existing forest. Okay, so let's go to select. Actually, we'll go to harry.com. Select that. Put the username. And so, sorry, let me go back there. We'll go to we'll have these ones here, but I've got a sneaky feeling that we've missed a step. Yeah, we have. let me do this. I think we need to try to log in as administrator just to this domain controller. We've missed a step, haven't we? Let me just check this. Yeah, I believe if we go to select, go to Harry domain, change this to Harry/administrator. If we go to next, yeah, that's going to, it looks like that's going to work now. You notice I didn't join as domain. I haven't done that yet. By promoting this as a domain controller, it should do that in the background. With the same password as we did in the previous domain controller. Go to next, and it's now going to replicate. So we want to replicate. Okay, we want to replicate from DC1. Go to next, same database. We can view the script again. The script is a bit different there. And we'll go to next. So this is going to take a little bit of time. So remember, we've installed Active Directory. We're promoting this domain controller. Okay, we're promoting it, but it's not the root domain in this the root controller. All right, so we'll wait for it to do its thing. It will restart and we'll go back to the beginning. So again, it might be a time for a coffee if you wanted to, but we'll be back shortly. All right, so we're just signing out now. It's done. It's gone as far as it can in this instance here. It's going to restart, and we can probably push that, make it a bit quicker. It's going to do that already. So we might wait 15 or 20 minutes for the next part. Maybe it should be less than that, but we'll see how we go. So we'll put pause again. Okay, so that only took a couple of minutes, wasn't very long. Let's jump into the domain controller 2. Now, very important, do not log in as administrator only. This came up automatically, and it should, but you never know. In some servers, you might accidentally log in locally, but this is a good thing here. So DC1 and DC2, this is running smoothly. Doesn't look like we have that many, we don't have any issues so far. But I'm just going to check if there's any replication between the two. So we'll jump into domain controller 1, and we're just going to create an organizational unit. We'll create 2 organizational units. We'll go into users and computers, the Harry domain. We'll create 2 organizational units. One is going to be called sales. That's cliche, that's boring. And we'll create another one called organization unit will be management. Okay, so in sales, we're going to create a new user, and we'll say Luke Skywalker. L Skywalker. Next, I'm not going to worry about the password settings too much. We just want Luke to log in, that's all. I do have other videos on more sophisticated configurations for these guys. And over here, we're going to have a new user called Harry Potter. Now, why I'm doing this is this is on the main domain controller, DC1. I want to see, I want to see how if this gets replicated across. All right, so they're good. Let's jump over to DC2 and have a look at the Active Directory and users. Expand that. Now they're there. So they're being replicated over. Okay. If they don't, then press refresh here. That should work. So now anything, at the moment, I can make changes on this domain controller because it's not read-only. So I could make a change here that would be replicated to DC1 as well. These type of other topics, how to control this another time. We just want to be able to get the two domain controllers working, and we are. So that's it. We won't come back to DC2 now. DC2 is running fine. I'm going to close it. It will run in the background. I'm not going to take it down. Hyper-V, you can leave them running in the background. But DC1 and DC2, so that's done. Now, to complete phase 2, so we've installed DC domain controllers on both servers. We've created organizational unit and a user, which we will log in later. I'm going to set up DHCP on domain controller 1. Now, I wouldn't usually do this in a production environment, but this is only a lab, and I don't want to build too many servers. I don't want to overburden and get confused with too many things going on. So let's go to tools. Sorry, we'll go to manage, add roles and features. Next. That's all good there. And we'll install DHCP server. Add features. Next. This is really easy. DHCP is my favorite. It's so easy. The concept is easy and it's easy to configure. And we can get a DHCP running in minutes. So we will wait for that. Shouldn't be too much long. It's a really quick process. There's not a lot going on. You could set up a DHCP server on any other machine. You could get a generic one, but we're doing this in Active Directory, and this is how you do it. So we're going to close. We need to click on the flag, and we need to complete this configuration. And let's complete it. We'll use administration. We want to authorize this DHCP on the Active Directory. And we'll do that. We'll commit that. Done and done. It does create security groups and other things as well. And that's it. We've installed DHCP server, but we need to set the scope up. And we're going to do that now. So that when our client computers log on, they will get an IP address now. But we need to set that up obviously first. So we'll go to DHCP, so manage DHCP. There we go. So it's active already, but there's no scope yet. Let's go right click, IP4, new scope. Next, we'll call it the client scope. Okay, we can put a description if you like. Next, so this is the range. Okay, I'm going to do something just a bit different. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to start at 30. And I'll end at 250. If I did 255, what would happen? Actually, it's we'll type 24. So it won't like it because 255, according to this subnet mask, is not valid, and that's good. That protects us a bit. But 254 will be the last valid IP address in that range. We can do exclusions, IP addresses that we don't want anyone to use, but I'm not going to in this lab. I'll leave the actual lease time alone. These are the options, so these are what the computers will be configured with when they get these new DHCP details, like the IP address and DNS, etc. So this is the router gateway. So if we want to have our if we want to go to the internet or to another network, a subnet, we need to add where the router is. Now, I don't have one in this lab, but I can configure it if I wanted to. I could set a lab up where I've got a router in there. So this is the DNS and the domain name. So it's harry.com. This is going to be advertised or sent to our computer. So the computer is going to show that it's now part of the harry.com network. I can add another DNS server if I wanted to, And what I would usually do is I pick a DNS server from the internet, something like that, just in case my own DNS server doesn't work properly, or I want to go to the internet or something. But I'm not going to do that in the lab environment. Win server is ancient technology. We don't worry about that. I would usually say no, do not activate the scope now, because I want to make sure I've okay. But you know what? We should be okay. So we'll go to next and finish. Now that is working now. It's good to go. This is going to work now. Now to test it, we're going to jump into client 1, just for testing purposes. When client 1 and 2, when they log on to the domain later on, we'll get there. Okay, we'll test it for some other things. I just want to test that DHCP is working before I finish phase 2. So then we can move to phase 3. Let's go to client 1, which is over here. There we go. We're going to log in locally. Logging in locally, and hopefully at this point when we log in we should have DHCP details, IP address configured. Go to, keep doing that, command, we'll do IP config /all, and it's not working. Okay, no problems. Maybe when it started up it didn't get a DHCP yet. If it doesn't work, we'll have some troubleshooting to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do ipconfig release. So I'm going to release that. If I can type properly, ipconfig. Right, that's fine. And ipconfig renew. Let's see if this works. Oh, it looks good. Notice Harry's there, harry.com. That's a good sign. We'll go to yes. Or you know what, you can escape that. Don't worry about it too much. Fine, so this is good. This is working okay. Let's do an IP config all. All right. So I can see that 10.0.0.30. Remember, we wanted to start at .30. This is the IP address. This is my the subnet mask. I can see my lease there. I can see that the default gateway is there. Remember, we configured that under options. The DHCP server, that was sent to me automatically. The DNS server was sent to me automatically as well. If I went ahead and did 8.8.4.4 for the extra DNS server, I would have that there. So that's good. DHCP is working. The client is getting the IP address and the optional configuration details. Phase 2 is now complete. In phase 3, we're going to work on our file servers now. We're going to set up these file servers. Now with these file servers, we need to log in in the domain. I'll show you how to do that. We'll set up the role of a file server and DFS. It's quite fun actually. So I'll see you shortly in the next video. Thank you for viewing. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you very shortly.